Hello friends, welcome to EduTap. In today's video, we will be discussing certain PIB articles that were published on 5th of Feb 2018. These articles are important for RBI Grade B and NABARD Grade A and Grade B exams. For 5th Feb, we have three topics for our discussion. The first one is National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. The second topic is Digital Gender Atlas, and the third topic is Rural Development Department rolls out a robust accountability framework. These three topics have been selected from a number of articles published on PIB site, but these articles are selected keeping in mind the syllabus of RBI and NABARD exams, which are basically relates to socio-economic issues, environmental issues and the human development aspects. Let us now discuss in detail our first topic, that is National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. This particular fund is basically from, as the national word says, for India, and it is a national version of an international fund. We will discuss in detail. This particular fund was established in India, in the country, in the year of 2015-16, and it was formulated in order to fund the projects which are basically aimed to address the climate change issue in the country. The genesis of this particular fund is from the Adaptation Fund from the Kyoto Protocol, which has been established. This particular fund has been established in the year 2007 in order to finance the climate change adaptation measures to be implemented in different countries, with special focus on developing countries. So this International Adaptation Fund then allocate funds to national adaptation funds in the different countries, and from this particular national fund, the funds are then directly transferred to projects which are aimed at addressing the climate change issues in the respective localities. So this entire fund functions based on projects. The projects are prepared, detailed reports for the projects are prepared. These are then sanctioned, and the funds are released from National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change for the implementation of those projects in the respective areas for implementation. In the country, the project for this fund was launched in year 2015-16 with an aim to support adaptation activities for climate change. Here, adaptation means that we need to understand the meaning of adaptation. First, we need to understand that climate change is true and is going to happen. We can't say that there is no climate change or we can reverse the climate change. This won't help, because at the human activities, especially in the industrialization, has changed the world climate to such an extent because of greenhouse gases and release of greenhouse gases into the environment, that the global temperature has increased and it is resulting in the climate change. So we need to adapt to the climate change so that the negative effects of climate change to the human and animal life and property could be decreased. So all the efforts, actions that help us to adjust to the changed climate in the future, all those actions will be termed as adaptation. So we are in adaptation, we are basically doing adjustment to live in the new environment, in the new climate changed environment. So this particular fund sponsors, finances those adaptation activities that are basically help to reduce the potential damage of climate change. So we can say the aim or the objective behind this fund is to reduce the potential negative effects of climate change on life and property. The Adaptation Fund at international level as we have discussed here. This fund appoints national implementing entities which are for each country, and sometimes regional implementing entities as well for the region, for a group of countries in a particular region. So for India, NABARD has been assigned or accredited as national implementing entity, and in India all the funding and project sanctioning is done by NABARD for the implementation of projects under National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. So this is a key point we need to remember, that the implementing agency, national implementing entity for National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change in India is NABARD. And this particular implementation of this fund is project based. The projects are prepared by states and UTs in collaboration with NABARD, and then it is being sanctioned by a state committee which finally sanctions that project is to be implemented, and then the funds are directly released to NABARD and the implementing authorities which are going to implement the project on the groundwork. So in this way this whole fund works, and we need to keep in mind that this particular fund has been designed to fund the projects which are exclusively designed to reduce the vulnerability because of climate change. So but the impact of climate change is on different sectors, so it tackles all those sectors which can be negatively impacted by climate change, ranging from agriculture to all the diverse sectors. For example, environment conservation, livelihood options based on climate change issues, similarly coastal areas conservation. So all these factors are being concerned, these sectors are taken into consideration while sanctioning the projects under the National Adaptation Fund for Climate Change. Also, there is no state-wise allocation of funds but project-based. The funds are allocated to the particular project being sanctioned under the implementation or under this particular funding. For example, we are going to discuss it with one example. For example, in Manipur, a village named Phayang is being a project has been sanctioned to make this village a model carbon positive eco village. Since this village lies in an ecologically sensitive zone of Himalayas, so it is very prone to climate change, especially because of increase in temperature, the livelihood which is basically mainly agriculture in this area. So the agriculture is coming under threat because of increase in the environmental temperatures, and besides factors like decrease in soil fertility because of traditional zoom cultivation. Here zoom cultivation means that the people in that area take a section of forest, burn all the trees in those forests so that the land is clear of the trees, then it is used for cultivation of crops for a few years, and after that they abandon this patch of land and then just shift to another patch of forest and clear this forest by burning again, and the cycle repeats. So they are basically part by part decreasing the forest cover, and this also decreases the soil fertility of the soil fertility of the land which has been left after cultivating it for few years. So it is putting a potential damage to the ecosystem as well as the food and livelihood issues of this area. So the government has sanctioned a project to make this area Phayang in Manipur by making it carbon positive eco village, in which projects for example irrigation facilities in order to adapt to climate change has been sanctioned with special focus to increase the crop yields based on their adaptation to the climate change with respect to that specific area. Similarly, for different other states, a number of projects have been sanctioned. For